Hello and welcome to the Cynical Optimists. Not the podcast you deserve, but the podcast you need right now. I am Phill.
And I'm Nick.
And this week we saw Justice League. This might actually be the quickest after a film's release that we've released a review episode of it. So yay, topical. Anyway, on the topic of topical, that's a weird sentence.
That's great. Perfect segue.
Yeah.
Roll with it.
We're going to start with the gaming news. We suggested it last week and played with the idea, but considering the gaming news is an awful lot to do with last week, we thought it'd be best just to, dive right in. So it's almost like it's continuous.
Exactly. You could just go on to the next episode without ever even realising.
Yeah, weeks could pass you by. So, the main story in the gaming news this week has been Battlefront II still. Because obviously last week we focused more on, the comparison of 2005's Battlefront 2 and this year's Battlefront 2. But then EA had to go and do things. Have you heard much
Good
of
things,
this news?
to be fair. Yeah, it was. They went back on their decision to do the loot boxes, right?
Well, let's start at the beginning, eh?
Okay.
So this all started with somebody on the Battlefront 2 Reddit complaining that they worked out that if they didn't want to do any grinding and just wanted to pay microtransactions, it would cost them $80 to unlock Darth Vader. And EA community team responded to this with a statement which I do have here, which is, the intent is to provide players with a sense of pride and accomplishment for unlocking different heroes. As for cost, we selected initial values based upon data from the open beta and other adjustments made to milestone rewards before launch. And it goes on with that kind of stuff. Kind of trying to justify it. But yeah, that comment then went on to make Reddit history as the most downvoted comment ever.
Wow, that's pretty impressive.
So at the time I took the screenshot of the page, it had minus 676,000 downvotes. But it's still fluctuating a bit, I think. So yeah, this was a bit of a PR shitstorm for EA.
But fantastic memes off the back of this, though.
Yeah, and I think it went so far as it actually started making mainstream news.
Really? Wow.
Because they decided to follow this up with a AMA with an Ask Me Anything.
Yeah.
But this wasn't EA, this was DICE, who are the developers.
Right.
So as a result, they didn't really know, like when people were asking them questions about the microtransactions, things like that, they didn't really know the answers. So in their attempt to put out this PR fire that they'd made, they had this AMA, which created another PR fire, because it's perceived as only answering softball questions. So
Brilliant.
It was just, it was a lot of stuff, like if you asked about progression in the game, like with nothing to do with microtransactions, you probably got your question answered. But any of like the harder questions just got ignored, no matter how much they were kind of upvoted on Reddit to be higher on the page.
Yeah.
So that then got even more criticism.
That they're not addressing people. That's they're just the worst.
Yeah, so that's why on Friday when the game launched, it came out with the statement from DICE that they had disabled microtransactions for the time being.
Right. Until they figured out a better way of doing this. Yeah,
so the statement which they put up on, I think it was their website, because I've got a screenshot of it here, is, as we approach the worldwide launch, it's clear that many of you feel there are still challenges in the design. We've heard the concerns about potentially giving players unfair advantages, and we've heard that this is overshadowing an otherwise great game. This was never our intention, sorry we didn't get this right. And basically it goes on just to say they're going to take the ability to do microtransactions offline to bring them back later.
I mean, to be fair, I don't really care that much about online, like multiplayer gaming anyway, because I think people are going to beat me anyway, because
that's the
people are good. So I mean,
the issue was though with the single player, from a single player perspective, the amount of the in-game currency that you could earn, the stuff that buys the characters if you don't want to pay the microtransactions, is actually capped in single player for what you can get in a day.
Oh, really?
so that somebody just can't grind against bots.
Right.
And that got a lot of knockback as well, because I'm like you, I'd probably play the story and then play games against bots or just with you or something. I wouldn't really be too concerned about the online multiplayer.
Yeah, but I can see why people are getting frustrated.
Yeah, I can definitely...
For sure, yeah.
And that's the thing, it's kind of, the statement is just like, they're still going to be in the game, we're just going to bring them back once we've been able to ship a few copies, I guess.
Right, and I guess they might refine it a bit and just make it a bit more fair, I guess, I don't know. Yeah,
because the thing is, they're trying to make them like, mobile games, where you're incentivized to pay a little bit here and there, but
yeah, exactly.
The system is just...
The thing with mobile games is they're normally free in the first place.
That's the thing. Apparently, the amount of revenues from like microtransactions in big name titles is actually far overshadowing like the £60 price point now. So it's whether in the future they'll make these games free to play as well. Then I'd be interested.
Yeah, to be fair, I mean, I'd rather just pay once and get the entire game. But,
yeah.
I mean, I guess this is the way things are going. What about subscription-based games?
Interesting enough, the EA sports games are talking about that.
I think that could be interesting. A lot of people like doing subscription-based services at the moment. Could work.
Yeah, I mean,
that was a real random, off-the-cuff idea I just had. But
I think the thing is, it'd have to prove its value for money.
Yeah.
Because, obviously, I was talking to you about this when we spoke earlier in the week. I just got Netflix, but that's only like £8 a month. And it's got tons of stuff on it. So a subscription-based game model could work. To be honest, if you made it, £5 a month, you'd get the full £60 for the game across the year anyway. Like, as the developer. And it'd kind of mean that you could constantly update it. It's just, it'd have to be the right model, I think, to be, taken up.
I just think it's a very strange industry, like the way they're making money in the gaming industry at the moment. It's it's an odd way of doing things.
Yeah, it's because they're trying to incorporate like models from other industries, and it's not really working. Like how holidays will vary in price, and like this talk that actually in the future microtransactions for individual users could vary in price depending on the day of the week and like what the players' habits are and stuff like that. And it's just
whether it's a school day, whether it's a weekend.
But at the end of the day, the difference between like holidays and car insurance and video games is kids play video games.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm kind of against it all. It needs to be kind of... At the end of the day, these are very, very fancy toys.
Yeah.
But we'll see how things go. So now, time for a game.
Wait, can I just read you a couple of my favourite memes?
Sure. Do the meme game first.
Okay. So we've got the word EA planted over Qui-Gon's face saying microtransactions will do fine, and then the word gamers planted over Sebulba's face saying no, they won't. So that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Wait, is it Sebulba? It is Sebulba, isn't it?
No, it's no, because Sebulba's the racer.
Watto. Yes, that's Watto, isn't it? Yeah, that's the one. Oh god, my Star Wars knowledge just let me down.
How embarrassing for you.
There's another one where Obi-Wan jumps onto the ledge on Mustafar and he says to Anakin, "It's over, Anakin, I paid for the high ground." That's one of my favourites. Yeah, that's all I got. Yeah, what else have you got?
So I was going to say, so Nick, do you know what the previous most top downvoted comment on Reddit was before last week? It held the title for 2 months.
Oh, is it EA again?
No, although they do appear in the top 10 list, I think a few times,
right.
According to certain users.
No, go on then.
Basically, it was in the subreddit IAMA, which is like users host their own Ask Me Anythings. A user called 96 Phoenix literally asked for downvotes. He literally just put an upside down thumb as his post, and he got given over 24,000 downvotes.
Fantastic! I love it when the internet comes together.
On the post, a user informed him that he'd lost his crown to EA, and his response was actually, haha, I think I'm alright losing to EA. Fuck those guys.
Brilliant.
And this isn't the first time EA has been in the middle of a PR disaster either. Which online award did they receive in both 2012 and 2013?
The worst. Just the worst award?
Close.
Okay.
The Worst Company in America award.
Woohoo!
Although that was, like, pushed back on by quite a lot of people. It was like, they beat out companies like Walmart and Bank of America, and this was in the aftermath of, like, the recession, and Walmart was still treating their employees like shit.
Yeah. And EA still managed to nab the title. That's impressive.
Yeah, that's another thing the internet gets together and does. So this is the continuing saga of sorrow that is Star Wars Battlefront II. After a response from EA about how loot boxes and microtransactions are about player choice became the most downvoted response on Reddit ever, players chose not to support EA. Because as a Sith Lord once said, the ability to destroy a planet is insignificant next to EA's ability to ruin a game that would sell millions on name alone. So I guess I should do the other news from the week, because that was pretty much the majority of what news websites were covering.
Let's just talk about Battlefront 2 for the entire series, Phil. We could do it.
So last week was Battlefront 2 Then and Now. This week is Battlefront 2 Just Now. Next week will be Battlefront 2 Future ?
It does look kind of cool though. Like I like the gameplay. The story mode looks really cool. I've watched a couple of cutscenes.
That's the thing. It's a real shame that the publisher is meddling so much, because I'd have probably bought it.
I mean, I wouldn't, because I still don't have a modern console. But Black Friday at the moment, isn't it? Well,
yeah, it is. You can get like
not technically, but according to Amazon and all the other companies.
Yeah, I was going to say, isn't Black Friday next Friday?
Yeah, but it lasts for like 2 weeks now, and it started now or something, apparently.
Yeah, because I saw that you could get like an Xbox One for like £200 with Battlefront 2 built in, so you might be able to find a PS4 like that.
Well, there was a PS4 on Argos. I don't even think it's on Black Friday yet, but it's like 270. It's like a special edition PS4 with the limited edition, with the deluxe edition of Battlefront 2.
Okay,
that was kind of cool. Some buying advice here for anyone listening.
So for anyone who heard what we were just talking about and thought, I need this game.
We've really sold it so far.
Yeah. So yes, the other news from the week, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles are coming to Injustice 2.
Really?
Yeah.
How? Why? Aren't they? I think they've been linked with Marvel before, right? If anyone. Because apparently they've got the same origin as Daredevil. You know the ooze that Daredevil knocked into? Apparently that went down the sewers in... I can't remember if it was a official comic run, but there's a dispute that the same origin applies to Daredevil. Basically mutates the turtles and they turn into the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It's all a bit weird, but I've just heard there's Marvel links to them, not DC.
Well, they're going to be in They're going to be in Injustice 2 in the next DLC. So
I just
had a look at the news.
Those turtles.
I just had a look at the news story to see if they give any kind of context, but no, they're just like, yeah, it's going to be in the game.
Okay. Like when Mercedes popped up in Super Mario Brothers, I suppose. No, Mario Kart.
Yeah, well, to be fair, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is a bit more appropriate for a fighting game than a Mercedes is for a cartoony driving game, I guess, maybe. I don't know. Yeah, and this next...
We could have just segued to Justice League then, but we've still got loads of news to do.
Well, the thing is, I've got a news story that segues to film news, film and TV news, because it's... Have you heard the report of Nintendo's plans to make an animated movie?
No.
So apparently they're close to a deal with the studio behind Despicable Me.
Illumination, isn't it, or something?
Yeah.
DreamWorks?
I don't know. I think that because it's Universal Pictures that's like at the top of the deal, but the different headlines.
I think Illumination is one of the actual animation companies then.
Yeah, because that's the thing with the news outlets we're going with Nintendo reaching plans to make a Mario movie with the people who made Minions, which is obviously not good. Or
I mean, I haven't seen it.
with Universal Pictures. I don't know. I have no intention to see Minions, though. It just...
I mean, to be fair, they've done well with their like branding and marketing because you literally see them everywhere.
Yeah, although that is... Going back to the topic of memes, that is one of my favourite types of meme is the Minions meme that's twisted to make it just absolutely terrible.
What, where it's like a picture of a minion and then like a horrible, like cynical caption underneath.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like those. Yeah.
But
No,
yeah,
I like seeing the positive ones because it's more out of context. I think, if anything, a picture of a minion with like a really optimistic quote, and then your aunt shares it on Facebook, and you're like, "What is this?" You know the ones?
Yeah, I do.
Great stuff.
But yeah, that's it for gaming news. There wasn't much this week because it was EA were hogging the limelight. So, on to film and TV.
There isn't much TV news, apart from the fact that last week we spoke briefly about the Lord of the Rings Amazon series. Apparently that's a go. They've come to an agreement. It's happening. Get used to it. Buy Amazon Prime. Sell your soul away. Spend £70 a year if you're a student, but more if you're not. Just have that. You've got it. It's happening. Not much other TV news, other than I've watched the first 4 episodes of Punisher on Netflix.
What is your verdict?
It is okay so far. I think there's a bit of a... It's cool. Like, the Punisher stuff is all really good, but Netflix series, I think the Netflix Marvel series have got a bit of a problem with side characters.
Like, not good ones, or...
Well, just too many.
Oh.
I mean, it's a show. I thought this was going to be like a sort of back-to-track show about just the Punisher kind of thing. But there's the Punisher, and he's got like this sidekick guy, and we also follow the family of the sidekick, and then we've got like a policeman with an officer, and then there's like a group from the Punisher's army division that runs a company, and then there's the people that go to this company, and then there's like someone else in the Punisher's group that runs this like support group, and then there's like side characters within the support group, and it ends up like a quarter of the episode actually spent with the Punisher.
Yeah, I think that's what happens when you don't have enough content to fill. Is it an hour long episode? 45 minutes?
45, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, because I know we've discussed this before. Because obviously you've been talking about the show that you're working on, Poacher.
Yeah.
And I think the main thing we did kind of discuss is when you've got side characters, it kind of splits up the runtime a bit. But
yeah, I mean, it's a good thing in certain shows.
Overboard.
Yeah, it's gone way overboard because you feel like you haven't spent enough time with the main character.
Yeah, because you need to have enough for the main character to do, and then
it's just like I think the thing that excited us all about the Punisher was like some proper like R-rated Marvel violence kind of stuff.
Yeah,
and it does happen. There are some real great action scenes, but it's like it's quite few and far between. It's like maybe one. It's literally like one per episode, if that sometimes.
Yeah, because really you should have about, in your 45 minutes, about 25 should be of your main plot, which is your main character. Yeah. And then the remaining 20 should be split between 1 or 2 other plots.
Yeah, I think Daredevil does it quite well because and also with the Punisher so far, I mean, I'm only 4 in, but they're not like crossing over the stories as much as they should be.
Oh, what? So the stories are kind of all happening in their own little bubble?
Yeah, with the occasional name drop, but that's about it.
There's no like through theme or anything like that?
Not particularly. I mean, it's a decent show and the production quality is great and everything like that, and all the actors are well cast, but I don't know. It might kick up a gear soon, but because I think it's a 12 episode one, so I'm only a third of the way through.
Yeah, well, you'd think 12 episodes would be, because it's not as if it's got like 24 to fill, like a regular
I can't deal with those shows. I say I can't deal with those shows, but I still really like Gotham.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't know. Well, you'll have to keep us updated week on week, eh?
Yeah, I should be finished by next week, and I'll give a verdict, an overall verdict. But it's worth checking out. It's good fun.
Yeah. Tweet at Nick what you think of the Punisher.
Yep.
At Mick Mortimer.
No, I wasn't going to actually say my handle then because people are.
Oh,
They'll be like, I
Well,
can't believe you didn't understand the Punisher. It was about PTSD and stuff like that.
well, to be fair, you change your handle every
Yes, that's a good point. Yeah,
5 minutes. So
but yeah, I do get it. It's a good show. It's got depth to it, which is good. But yeah, also, I kind of want to just see some more punishing.
yeah, that's
Know
fair
what I mean?
enough.
Know what I mean?
Yeah,
I haven't got a segue. Deadpool is not in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but it is Marvel originally. We've had a trailer for the second one.
oh yes, yeah,
Fantastic! Like I'm so chuffed to see their marketing is still just as on point because it's not even a trailer.
yeah. It's just a bit nuts, isn't it?
Yeah, I absolutely loved it. It's jumpy. It's doesn't make sense. The continuity's all over the place. It's fantastic.
Yeah, no, it was a good trailer. To be honest, I preferred it to the first trailer.
So did I. Yeah, it was just nuts. I
Because
loved it.
the first trailer was making a rather old joke of Superman changing in the phone booth.
Oh, that one. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I thought you meant to the first film, but
Oh,
no,
right.
that one was pretty good as well. But yeah, it was. Yeah, I get you.
Yeah, no, I feel a lot more optimistic about the sequel from that second one, because the first one did make me think it was just going to rely on a few lazier superhero cliches,
Right. Yeah, I get you.
whereas this is a lot more kind of original and more Deadpool-y.
Oh, it just I love it. It's bang on the characterization, isn't it?
Yeah.
But we did see a little glimpse of the actual film. Negasonic's back. Did you see the brief shot of the Negasonic Teenage Warhead?
Yeah, I think so. I have seen it, but I've only watched it once about a week ago.
Fantastic X-Men in costume. They've gone for like the blue and yellow, like real old school kind of costume, which looks really cool.
Yeah.
There's a chainsaw. It's just there wasn't a big glance, but it was just really cool to see.
Yeah. That's what was that 2018?
Yes, it is June, I think, 2018.
Oh, cool.
And the director. Did you see Atomic Blonde?
No, I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, the same director as that, which was fantastic, and like action alone in Atomic Blonde was just amazing. So yeah, real looking forward to that. We've had another teaser trailer. We've had The Incredibles. This was literally the day before we were recording this. It's very much a teaser trailer in that nothing of any circumstance happens.
I liked it though. I do like Jack's kind of random powers. I mean, I hope they get explained well, because otherwise
I don't mind.
When he grows up, he'll just be the most overpowered superhero ever.
I don't know, because that's what I was wondering about. But of course, it's confirmed that it's moments after the original movie.
Yeah,
which was 2004.
I know, it's crazy.
That is a crazy time difference. It's kind of weird because this is like a really long-winded, like a long-off sequel, but set within the same time period.
Yeah, because usually
I can't even think of another film that does that. Like Toy Story 3 did a time jump.
Monsters University jumped back in time.
Oh yeah, it did. That's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah, this is the first one where there's been a big gap between the two films.
Yeah.
And they haven't reflected it in a big gap in the actual time between the movies.
I think there was a sequel in a video game, but
yeah, it was like the Underminers, wasn't it, or whatever?
Yeah, the Rise of the Underminer. That's it. But yeah, it looks fun, and I mean the music's just great. So
yeah,
and the original was a great film.
Yeah.
What else have we had? Sort of, I should have gone on to the next bit of X-Men film news after Deadpool, but oh well. James Franco is set to join the X-Men universe in a multiple-man film.
Right. Any news of his role? Because he was in Spider-Man, wasn't he?
Yes, he was. I forgot about that. He's going to be multiple-man, who was briefly in X-Men 3.
Oh.
He's the guy that can just multiply himself.
Oh. Yeah, okay, multiple man. I thought you were referring to it as it'd be like an ensemble cast.
Oh, right. Yeah, so that's happening. It's being written by the Wonder Woman screenwriter.
Cool.
And I think Simon Kinberg is producing it. He's done most of them. Well, he's produced most of them, but he's directing the next main X-Men film. I'm kind of excited to see where all the X-Men films go. I think they've still quite a good cinematic outing. I think it's going to be good.
Yeah, it will be interesting, especially since obviously, and it'll be the X-Men films post Logan, which was quite a definitive end for that character.
Yeah. I mean, you've seen the trailer for. Have you seen the trailer for New Mutants?
No, I haven't.
Very horror kind of vibe, which is cool.
Yeah.
But no, I think that they've got a lot of imagination at the X-Men studios. I'm excited to see what they do. Like Multiple Man, like I didn't think that would work as a film particularly. It's a bit of a side character, but sure, give it a go.
Why not?
Yeah, Franco's good, isn't he?
Yeah, he's all right.
You looking forward to The Disaster Artist?
No idea.
Okay, it's the one about the room. You know, Tommy Wiseau, The Room.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, that rings a bell now.
That looks quite good. Last Jedi is going to be the longest Star Wars film, 2.5 hours. I'll gloss over that.
Naturally.
The other last bit of news I've got is about Fantastic Beasts 2. I think that was the thing we missed just after we finished recording last week.
Yeah. Oh, well, actually, the thing that we tweeted about just missing was Rian Johnson's new Star Wars trilogy, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah, we didn't mention that. Really?
Yeah,
God,
no,
is that long ago? Wow.
Yeah, that was literally like the next morning because we recorded in the evening.
Yeah, it's probably been done to death, but yeah, Rian Johnson's going to spearhead the new Star Wars trilogy.
Gives me high hopes for The Last Jedi if Disney
Well, they
must
be confident, yeah, exactly. Sure.
But yeah, Fantastic Beasts 2?
Yeah, have you seen the cast photo?
No.
Okay.
What's his face is in it, isn't he? As like some
Johnny Depp.
Johnny Depp, yeah.
It's going to be called Fantastic Beasts:
Ooh.
The Crimes of Grindelwald.
Fair enough.
And like they couldn't have picked much more of an ironic title because obviously Twitter went mad renaming it The Crimes of Johnny Depp. Like The Crimes of Grindelwald: sexual harassment. It's not a great move really on their part, is it?
No. Part of me feels that this kind of Fantastic Beast stuff is going to be like Harry Potter's version of the expanded universe, where only the most hardcore fans are going to be able to follow it.
I mean, yeah, because I even had a bit of prior knowledge, and I'm still just like, what is all this about? Yeah, it just looks really weird. I didn't like Johnny Depp as Grindelwald in the last. Spoiler alert for the first one. He's in the last like couple of minutes, and he sort of murmurs something weird, and you can't really hear what he's saying, and then he just kind of fucks off to prison. But he's back for the sequel, so sure.
Yeah,
great.
Well, I still haven't seen the first one, to be honest.
Oh, well, spoiler alert, Johnny Depp is Colin Farrell.
Johnny Depp is Colin Farrell?
Yeah, it's real weird. You're like, oh, who's this Hollywood A-lister? Oh, he's just turned into another Hollywood A-lister. This isn't right.
Huh.
Colin Farrell was way better, so should have kept him. But who else have we got returning? We got the American guy and the American woman and Catherine Waterston and Eddie Redmayne and Ezra Miller's back, which is cool because he was in the first one and it's a bit unclear whether he'd be back for the sequel, but he is, and he's lost his bowl haircut, so that's good. And then we got Jude Law as Dumbledore, who looks real good.
Ah, yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, he looks bang on. You could see him as a young Dumbledore. He's just there, Dumbledore and about. But yeah, Ezra Miller's back. Speaking of Ezra Miller, Phil.
Justice League.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna. Shall we start spoiler free, and then at some point we'll say we're gonna do spoilers now. See you later if you don't want spoilers.
That's a good shout.
So, where do you want to start? You lead us off.
Okay. Good things.
Well,
the
first
characters.
of all, did you enjoy the film?
I did enjoy the film an awful lot.
I did more than I thought I would.
Oh, okay, that's good. I'll take that. I should just point out from the offset, I'm a bit of an apologist for the DC movies. Actually, I'm not, because I hated Suicide Squad and I hated Man of Steel. But I like Batman v Superman.
Yeah, you're a Batman v Superman apologist.
Yeah, I thought this was real good. It improved on... I think these films just keep improving on where the last ones go wrong.
Yeah, but there is a certain difficulty you can fall into if your last film is just correcting the mistakes of the film before it.
I guess, but...
That's how Batman v Superman got into so many niggles, is because they went to great lengths to try and justify certain bits of Man of Steel.
Yeah, I guess.
Such as the destruction of the city, and now Justice League does do a little bit of that, but it manages to refrain from a lot of it.
And I feel like its editing pace, this isn't really a spoiler, but it was going to be like a 3-hour film, and then when Joss Whedon and the new editors and stuff came in, I think they went pretty hard on the edit and cut it down to a 2-hour film. And you know what? I'm really chuffed about that, because it was that kind of breakneck speed that like makes stuff like The Force Awakens work so well.
Yeah, well, yeah, I guess. I
it's
think
just kind of... I mean, I love The Force Awakens as a film, but it's also like when it's quippy and when it's like cut real tight and there's no sort of wasted scenes, and it's, I'll go into something like that in spoilers, but yeah, it was... I don't know. It was really nice paced film. I feel like it didn't feel messy either.
I think the editing was probably necessary. However, I think one of my main criticisms would be that the film kind of lacked a bit of substance as a result. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it did, yeah. Don't get me wrong, it was absolutely flat as a fucking pancake, but...
Yeah.
I
thought it was edited quite tightly.
Yeah. And, like, that's all I kind of wanted. Like, it's a Justice League film. Like, the characters work together, the chemistry was good, real solid, tight editing, funny jokes, good dialogue, fine, real good.
Yeah. So I thought I agree with pretty much most of that. I think as a 2-hour film, and to be honest, in an ironic thing of how Warner Brothers has been rushing this along, I do think it would have been better if, like, Cyborg and Aquaman at least had their own solo films.
Yeah,
because a lot of the stuff about Atlantis is glossed over, and if you weren't like I know enough
sometimes
about DC to get it, but I can see why people are calling it a messy film.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like the pacing of it sort of glossed over the mess, and I was expecting it to be way messier.
Oh yeah,
because like this started shooting a long time ago. And even then, like they were adjusting the script to be funnier, like because of Batman v Superman. They were changing bits of production, and then to top it all off, halfway through that, changing director, changing composer, changing editors. Like I was expecting it to be a real bloody hodgepodge kind of put together film, but it was pretty tight.
Yeah, no, if you look at its development story, you'd expect a worse film to come from it.
Oh yeah, definitely. And like it did something that I didn't expect it to do either, was it did what it says on the tin. There were no it was quite a flat ass story, but like there were no pretensions in that story.
Yeah, I did find it kind of refreshing how there was no forced Zack Snyder metaphor to terrorism or something. And like
I feel like that was part of the edit, because I feel like we were supposed to get a lot more of the main villain.
Yeah, he was a very nothing villain.
Exactly. He kind of... This isn't really a spoiler, but he pops up and he does what he says on the tin as well. You're like, oh, this guy's clearly evil. He's like 10 foot and grey, and he's got a big old hammer and stuff, and he's that. He's basically that.
Basically, he's like Loki from the first Avengers if you didn't have the entirety of like the Thor movie to get to know Loki.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, pretty much.
That's the thing. It was very much following the Avengers formula.
And if Loki had a weird, gross 3D printed flat face.
Yeah.
Oh, he looked
like
ugly,
a hammerhead shark.
He was real ugly, which is weird because have you seen the extended cut of Batman v Superman?
No.
There's a brief scene with Steppenwolf like right at the end, and they covered his eyes with his helmet, and it looks genuinely quite menacing.
Yeah.
They should have done that. They should have covered the eyes. The eyes killed it, I think, a little bit.
Well, yeah. If there's no life in the eyes, it can kind of destroy.
Well, I mean, there's no life in the character, so like,
yeah,
you might as well just knock off like that bit. Plus, it would have made the CGI look a bit better.
Yeah.
Because there are some dodgy CGI moments, but I mean, I don't understand like all the criticism, not just as an apologist for these kind of films, but also it literally did what it says on the tin. Like
I would go so far as to say this is probably the second best DC film of this universe.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Beaten
with
by Wonder Woman easily, but it's definitely better than Batman v Superman, Man of Steel, and Suicide Squad.
And I mean, I know that the topic of like Rotten Tomatoes and critics has been done to death, but like, it's weird because Batman v Superman was kind of criticised for being long, pretentious, like and cynical. This film was there was nothing pretentious about it. It was quite optimistic. It was fun. It was quick, like, and yet it still gets a lot of criticism.
I think if this film had come out though after all of the characters had a solo movie, it would have been received better. I think the reason people were calling it messy, like I say, is the stuff about Atlantis being dropped in there, random, and the fact that the plot does kind of just fly from place to place with the three MacGuffins.
Yeah.
Essentially. So casting wise, can I just make a claim? You probably won't agree with it. You might.
Go on.
I really did not like Ezra Miller as the Flash.
Really?
I thought he was annoying.
I thought he was one of my highlights of the film.
Like, a load of his jokes fell flat for me, and it wasn't just me. A lot of the audience, people in the cinema with me, no one was really laughing at them.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean,
it's not very close to like Barry Allen's character in the comics either.
No, I guess
he's a lot smarter than that, and
I know, but I feel like he could get there. I feel like I can understand why it can be perceived quite bad, because like similar to like Lex Luthor, they've put him in at a very kind of immature kind of stage, and hoping that like the development will sort of happen and get him closer to. But on the other hand, I'm not like one of the biggest Flash fans, and like Barry Allen seemed kind of generic in most of the comic runs and animations and stuff I've watched. I know that's going to piss a lot of people off, but
but potentially it's because I've been watching like the Flash TV show, and like Grant Gustin, who plays it on the TV show, is, whilst he might get given some crap material from time to time, he is a really good Flash. Like he's got the right amount of like lightheartedness and just kind of like goofballness, but he's a very smart scientist, which you just didn't really get with Ezra Miller. Because at the end of the day, Barry Allen is a bloody CSI. He's like that's the job he gets at the end of that film, is like crime scene investigation.
Yeah.
And instead he's just like making non sequiturs about like brunch and stuff like that. And just...
I knew you'd bring that bit up. I quite liked it. I feel like he's smart, and he built his suit. That's glossed over quite quickly, but he built his suit. And like I like how they mentioned the goofball stuff, like the metabolism. He's eating pizza and stuff like that. I find that all really fun. I feel like he's quite good in his like motivations in that. I mean, this isn't a spoiler because it's in the trailer, but the bit where he's like, I just push people and run away. It's like he's really new to kind of like hero antics, and I don't know. He felt like a really refreshing kind of bit in it. And again, because I've never been that attached to Barry Allen, like it's kind of fun in that he's kind of filling the role of like Spider-Man.
Yeah, but I think just Tom Holland did a better job as like. But I think it's potentially just because Tom Holland looks that bit younger.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
That I could buy the naivety, whereas.
But also Ben Affleck's that bit older than Robert Downey Jr., isn't he?
True, but at the same time, like that shouldn't have any effect on like his own like education and maturity of the younger character. It's not like the age gap. The age of the younger one is very much taken by itself.
Okay, I'm gonna still say I liked Ezra Miller's portrayal. But no, I can see why it could be a bit. It's that Jesse Eisenberg thing again, isn't it? It's kind of you're pitching a variation on a well-known character.
Yeah.
Cyborg.
I thought Cyborg did well, although I wish we kind of had more. He had a bit more breathing space in a way. Like,
there's a lot of lurking. He did a lot of lurking, didn't he?
Yeah, and I'll go into the scene when we start going to spoilers. But there is just one scene where I'm like, okay, that seems a bit overpowered. Because I know his suit's like constantly like developing, but
yeah. Oh yeah, I think I know which bit you're talking about. Yeah,
and it's just some bits are very plot convenient.
I feel he got the least. Yeah, I feel like he did get the least breathing space as a character.
Yeah, because he just seemed to be like a fix-it in a lot of situations because he could integrate with the technology.
Yeah, and also like straight off the bat, he's like, didn't mean to make a pun, but he's in Gotham straight from the beginning as well.
Yeah,
it's not really a spoiler. I think it's like he's a resident of Gotham, so like he's part of the story, like sort of forced in from the beginning, basically.
Yeah.
Whereas I feel like with Aquaman and the Flash, we kind of get them integrated a little bit sort of smoother.
In a way, although I feel the main reason, because this is a clip that's been shown around as well. Obviously, I think it was the one that they showed in the Graham Norton show and things like that, of like Aquaman originally declining the offer to join.
Yeah.
And like if there hadn't been one of the MacGuffins in Atlantis, he probably wouldn't have.
You know what?
So I think that was just a bit of convenient storytelling, but
I think I'm fine with the MacGuffins because they glaze over it.
Yeah,
in a lot of ways. I'm going to go into that a bit more in spoilers, but yeah, they are the most MacGuffin-y MacGuffins. Like,
yeah, don't go to see this film for its story, basically, because its story is just there to facilitate these heroes getting together.
There's a little. It's not really a spoiler, but there's a little scene where like they're sort of discussing these MacGuffins. They're called mother boxes, and they're like, so what do these contain? And I was so tempted at that point to just shout plot. But I obviously didn't. But yeah, they kind of do what the plot needs them to. And should we move on to spoilers at that point?
Yeah. So if you don't want the plot of Justice League spoiled or specific plot details, then we will see you next week, where the topic will be 2017's indie 3D platformers. And thank you for watching. But we're going to go into spoilers now in 3, 2, 1, Nick, go.
So, one of the bits that I'm happiest they glazed over was one of these mother boxes. For some reason, like Bruce Wayne has one of these. What literally comes out and says like, okay, so these boxes, they terraform. By the way, they do what like 3 DC movies have done before, and they terraform.
Yeah.
But they kind of restructure the cells of the planet, which I guess is what terraforming is. But then Bruce Wayne kind of randomly says like, oh, but if they can bear in mind he's only just like learned about these himself.
Yeah.
He sort of says like, oh, if they can rebuild the structure of a planet, maybe they can rebuild the cells of someone as strong as a planet.
Yeah.
And at that point I was like, what? Is this how you're going to do it? And it actually was, with no complications, not really any implications. They literally just use a mother box to bring back Superman.
Yeah, they basically just throw it at him and then the Flash zaps it.
Yeah, which was a cool scene. I liked seeing
cool
the Flash
sequence.
run, and it was all very tense, but also there were absolutely no complications to bringing back Superman.
Yeah.
I mean, what a whim! Like, to suddenly go from, oh yeah, this box can terraform a planet, to this box can probably bring back someone as powerful as a planet. What a guess.
We're basically... Well, the thing is, at one point they're referred to as an energy source, and it's like terraforming. Basically, they're like the Tesseract, but with a bit more weight around the edges, so they can kind of bend it to what the plot needs.
They are, if anything, they are probably the best thing in the DC universe, because you can just do anything with them.
That's the thing. It's what brought Cyborg to life as well, isn't it?
Yeah,
The mother box.
they did. That's right. Yeah.
So
Fucking hell, they are just. Oh, whatever the plot needs them to be.
No, the scene I was referring to with Cyborg is when he starts to get smarter, and then for some reason he can hear the conversation that Batman and Wonder Woman were having about him. And then he found a picture of Bruce Wayne without the Batman mask on in like 2 seconds. And you think, can he just break through any firewall or encryption and literally everything? Like, just by thinking about it. That just seemed like ridiculous to me.
Yeah, I get what you mean, yeah. I mean, that's his thing, to be fair. If he couldn't, then...
No, it was very much, we need cyborgs to get introduced as well. So how do we do that in the most convenient way possible?
But, yeah, no, definitely that. And but to be fair, I thought it was pretty cool the way it was portrayed. But again, just not enough introduction. I think I could deal with the other two without solo films because Aquaman and The Flash have got a bit more lore behind them. But
yeah, a lot of people know the Flash's story from...
And Cyborg was a late member to the Justice League in the comics anyway, so I mean, it would have been cool to have a Cyborg film first. But
yeah.
But no, it was... I thought it was a really good, fun film. What did you actually think of The Return of Superman?
I actually liked Henry Cavill in this film.
So did I, yeah.
It was probably in post that they made his suit all vibrant.
Yeah,
I liked the fact that it was a very,
yeah.
very, very clear blue, yellow, red.
Yeah.
And the fact that he was actually having fun.
He did look like he was having fun. I actually really enjoyed this.
And like one of the
portrayal.
bits I did like was when like the Flash was pushing that truck and then Superman like flew past that building like
with a building, yeah.
I mean, a few of the things were just taken wholesale from the Supergirl Flash crossover, like the race at the end and the post credits.
Although that's been done a lot in the comics.
Yeah, but it did just feel like what can we add to the post credits? Because that felt like it might have been filmed in the reshoots.
I feel like
it was fun, but I was a bit like, meh.
I feel like they glossed over a lot, and the tight edit was brutal in terms of like what they cut. But like by the end of it, I felt the Justice League were as they should be.
Yeah,
and they're all quipping the right way, and they're all having a good time. And Batman's got his little. He's going to build a table, isn't he? And he says there's room for others.
God, that.
I was smiling like most of this
line.
film.
That line was a cheesy line and a decent line, but at the same time it was like, and there's room for more if our cinematic universe continues.
They were talking about the budget there for future films.
Yeah.
They're like, we're going to put aside like $1 billion for the next few films, but room for more. No, I had a really good time. I was smiling and laughing, and that's all I want from a superhero film. And I do feel like the reviews have been pretty harsh.
Yeah, I think
like I can for Batman v Superman, even though I liked it, I can understand like some of the reviews and stuff. It's not very fun. It's a bit of an effort to watch sometimes, but
that's the thing. The Batman v Superman film is just so that is a messy plot.
It is, yeah.
Whereas this was just like, if anything,
dumb.
It may have assumed
it was dumb.
It was a dumb film, and at times it may have assumed too much prior knowledge of the comics.
Yeah, but I think an average viewer would be able to get it. I watched it with two DC proper fans, and then one guy who didn't know who the Flash was even prior to that, and he still had a good time. So
yeah, I suppose it really depends on what you want to get from the film.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I thought Jason Momoa was good. Like, he did a decent job. Like, there's Aquaman's scenes were all fine.
Yeah, he's pretty strong as well. He's one of the strongest members of the league, isn't he?
Yeah.
He goes
Wonder
toe-to-toe
Woman
with
again
Steppenwolf.
was
great.
great.
Wonder Woman was cool, and I'm glad they kept the theme. There was a little bit of the theme. Did you hear it?
Yeah.
Oh, so cool when she's fighting bloody Bruce Bolton in London.
Yeah, because I thought a lot of the fight scenes, whilst they did have a bit of CGI, I did think they were quite good.
Yeah,
that was
a real blast.
That was the thing. Is like, I know Zack Snyder is very much a fan of like Dragon Ball and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's good to see he's finally taking some of their notes with his like Superman. Like at the end when Superman's lying on the floor like laughing, that's a lot better than him being like all mopey and stuff.
Oh yeah, it was. I mean, it did feel a little forced because they were like, shit, we need to do some serious editing to this character. Oh, and Lois Lane was yet again a plot device.
Oh yeah, like Lois Lane and Martha Kent both got a bit shortchanged in this movie.
Definitely, yeah.
You've got to wonder how many of those scenes that were cut were Superman's kind of rehabilitation. Because basically, it's a bit weird when he comes back to life that he's just like... I get he's like starting up again. And actually one of the bits I did like was when the Flash tries to attack him and he kind of just turns around.
Yeah, that was really cool. In fact, I liked that fight scene. That was pretty cool.
I think it was unnecessary, but it was decent.
That's a good way of summing up the film, actually.
Yeah. But I do think the Superman's kind of rehabilitation was kind of glossed over a bit because he flies off with Lois Lane and then basically spends a few days standing in a field.
And then he's good again.
Yeah, then he's fine.
But again, I think the reason that worked is because they cut this down to a 2-hour movie rather than a 3-hour movie.
Yeah, to be honest, I'm not sure what else you could have done with that to make it more interesting.
If they made it longer, you'd just be thinking about how dumb it was and like how annoying Superman is. But like, it was all nice and quick. And
that's the thing, you didn't have any time even to look at your watch and see how much left of the film there was because it just kept on jumping around.
And they played Icky Thump by the White Stripes, which I was really chuffed about.
Yeah,
I'm really excited to watch it again. I thought, what did you think of some of the cameos? So we saw a Green Lantern.
Yeah, that was an interesting choice, but it was it was world building, you know. So
and it was subtle enough. It didn't go off on a tangent. It was just here's a Green Lantern guy.
And it wasn't a promise. It was just it's happened before kind of thing.
Yeah, I thought that stuff was all really good, and it felt like. Again, it probably was a result of the cut, but I felt this film wasn't trying to integrate other plots and wasn't trying to complicate anything. It didn't do what, like, for instance, Age of Ultron did in Avengers when it was sort of going off on, like, side tangents and stuff like that.
Yeah, although it was reading very much from the Avengers Assemble playbook, though.
Yes, it was, definitely. But that's fine. Avengers Assemble is a good bloody template to go by.
Yeah, like... Villain turns up looking for MacGuffin. As a result, heroes need to come together. Their mid movie falling out wasn't very big. It was just, should we bring back Superman? Probably, I don't know, maybe.
It did actually follow a lot of the template of that film, but it was really good fun.
Yeah.
And what else was I going to say? Oh, what did you think of the second post-credit scene? Assuming you stayed for that.
I didn't, but I know what happens.
Oh, okay.
I was just like, I can't be asked. Not in like a mean way, I was just like, I'm going to go home. I couldn't remember whether there was a second post-credit scene. I was like, I've been sat in the seat for 2 hours.
Okay, so...
But it was Jesse Eisenberg telling Deathstroke that they're going to make their own team.
Yeah, basically. Which was kind of cool, and weirdly, even though it was only for like a minute, I quite liked Lex Luthor. He felt more like Lex Luthor. A lot of it was just because of the visuals, like he was bold and he had a suit on. It just, I don't know, it felt more Lex Luthor-y. He didn't look like some goony goof man.
Although, I do like the actor who is going to be doing Deathstroke in the movies.
Joe Manganiello.
Yeah, but he's going to have to do a good work because Manu Bennett, who plays it in the TV show, does such a good job.
I was going to say, everyone raves about, how he does it in the Arrow.
Yeah, because he's been in this most recent series of Arrow as kind of an anti-hero.
Mm-hmm.
Because, the Mirakuru injection that kind of made him go crazy is kind of worn off. So, but, in the last few episodes, he's been able to do quite a few good, action sequences with just his swords and shit, and...
Okay, yeah.
So, I think they're going to have to do a good job on selling the movie Deathstroke as different enough, but at the same time good.
I mean, he looked bang on, to be fair. It was really cool. And Lex Luthor looked bang on as well. I mean, I actually feel like I can grow on this Lex Luthor. I feel like we've seen a bit of a change in character, and he's more like how he should be now. I know it was literally a minute, but I'm kind of excited. I'm excited for this universe to carry on, and I really hope it does, and not just like because I think they at one point they sort of panicked a bit about how their crossovers are going to go, and they were like, okay, so we're going to focus on just good directors and good actors and stuff like that. But I'm interested enough to see more Justice League films and in Justice League with Lex Luthor and Deathstroke and stuff like that. Whatever they do with it, I'm really game, and I don't want them to give up.
Yeah, I'm curious enough to let this thing continue.
Yeah,
That's the thing. Like, this is like, I think I'd like to see a good Cyborg movie. I'd like to see him get some space. I'd like to see a go at an Aquaman movie.
Well, it's James Wan doing the Aquaman movie, so that's probably going to be pretty good.
I don't really care about a Flash movie because the TV show already exists, and
yeah,
I
but
much
I don't
prefer
care about
Grant
a TV
Gustin.
show. Ugh.
And
Would you want to see Flashpoint?
Well, the thing is, here's the interesting thing about the Flashpoint storyline: is it's a good chance to change anything that doesn't work in the universe, but it can't change the person who plays the Flash.
Oh, jeez.
No, I'm kidding. Although I did find it was a bit of a weird casting for Barry Allen's dad, because he didn't look like he was significantly older than Barry Allen.
Well, it's because he's in bloody Watchmen, and this film needed all the Watchmen actors. So.
Ah, okay. Yeah, that clears up.
He was Dr. Manhattan.
Oh.
Yeah. And the guy that plays Bruce Wayne's dad, bloody what's his face? He's in The Walking Dead. Oh, that's gonna annoy me. He's also in Watchmen. He's the comedian. Oh, what's his bloody name? But either way, it'd be cool to see like that guy in as Thomas Wayne if they do a Flashpoint movie. Yeah, I like this universe. I like the casting. I like where they've gone with its tone. I like that there's a bit of world building. I hope Ben Affleck doesn't quit because I enjoyed him as Bruce Wayne in this still.
Yeah, he still does a very good performance as Bruce Wayne.
And I like the interactions between him and Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman, who was great, by the way. We haven't really touched on that, but
we've touched on it a bit, but yeah, she really did.
Yeah, she is probably like the strongest sort of character, strongest, most rounded character in this universe.
Yeah, and I liked how she was always just diving in. Like, I liked her fight scenes and everything like that.
And her music's so good.
Yeah, it's a really good theme.
Oh, love that. Just quickly, what did you think of the soundtrack?
Thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, it was a bit background, wasn't it? It was.
That's the thing. You say that, and I'm just really struggling to remember the soundtrack. I remember obviously the credits song.
Come together.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
which I thought was good, but
Danny
Elfman, I
Elfman,
really can't remember much more of the rest of the soundtrack.
He used bits from like the '60s Superman theme. He used bits from his '80s Batman theme. He used bits from like the Hans Zimmer Junkie XL Batman v Superman stuff. It was all very background, but I think I did prefer the soundtrack with Batman v Superman. I think that was a bit more intense.
Yeah.
But it was fine.
To start wrapping up then, what would you give this film out of 10?
Thinking about it for a long time, I'd probably give it like a 5, but as what it is, which is a Justice League movie designed for popcorn and a large Coke, like it's exactly what it should do. So I put it as like an 8 out of 10.
That's interesting because I was kind of on the fence. I don't think, like, just taking the film as it is, like, just as, just, I don't care what it means for Batman v Superman. It doesn't fix anything. That film is still bad in my eyes. I would probably rate it around a 6.5 or a 7 out of 10.
Okay.
Like, it was perfectly enjoyable.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of all I want in a superhero film, to be fair.
Yeah.
Maybe do pretentious stuff down the line, but
I think that's one reason I potentially wouldn't want to see the Flashpoint Paradox, is because a lot of the plot points in that film are just so fucking bizarre.
But they could do a trimmed down version of Flashpoint, which I think would work.
Yeah. I wouldn't be convinced, because that's a very dark, gritty... oh, look how twisted everything is, kind of.
I guess, but I like the fact that this Justice League's now built and they can do sort of films around it. So, like, what's good about the Flashpoint animation is it kind of starts with a good old classic Justice League adventure, and then we go into, like, the dark story, and then back at the end of it, we're back into the sort of fun Justice League. I know it ends on a bit of a bittersweet note, but I don't know. You can bookend the Justice League with films. Like, you could even do a Justice League intro for, like, every DC Universe film. I wouldn't mind, but and then maybe you, like, flash back to, like, the 80s where it's got, like, and if you don't want Ben Affleck for much either, you could just do stuff like start the film with the Justice League, Ben Affleck's there, and then he reminisces and it goes back and fucking, I don't know, Jake Gyllenhaal's playing a younger Bruce Wayne, and you just see, like, a Batman movie bookended with Justice League stuff. I don't know. Stuff.
So more of a tree from which a series can grow.
Yeah, because that's what they
storyline.
That's what they're doing with the current sort of the animated universe. Is that
I do get that.
They can, like, bookend it with Justice League stuff, and, like, you wouldn't have to get Ben Affleck in for long. You wouldn't even have to get him to do his whole exercise routine. You just be like, hey Ben, you and a stunt double for, like, the first and last 5 minutes kind of thing, while you're shooting your indie, whatever it is. You can even have a beard, I don't care.
Yeah. I think obviously the only thing from, like, a producer standpoint would be the cost of getting all those quite big name actors in for just a few scenes.
Yeah, but I think it
would be worth it.
Usually they can do it cheap, like, especially if they say, look, we'll film it in... Where's he from? Is he Boston? I think he's Boston, right, yeah. They'll be like, hey, we'll just book out a green screen studio in Boston. You can just swing by.
Yeah.
You can be drunk.
Book out for a day and film, like, 6 films worth of Batfleck.
Yeah, because they do it with Stan Lee. They filmed, like, all of his within, like, a couple of days for the next, like, 6 Marvel films. Just do that.
Yeah.
He can be drunk. He can just swing by drunk. Who cares? Just I don't know. I like where this universe is at.
Yeah. No,
it's a real solid film, isn't it?
It's the first time I've kind of been like, I've left a DC film thinking, yeah, that was alright. I'm curious to see where this goes. Actually, no, the second time, Wonder Woman.
Wonder Woman was good, yeah.
Yeah. So that's actually been a good year for DC.
Yeah, it has. In fact, I think superhero films in general have just been just excellent this year.
Yeah. So, I think that's about wrapped us up for this week, hasn't it?
This has been a very optimistic episode.
Don't worry, I'm sure we'll find some topic to be cynical about.
Oh yeah, Steppenwolf was utter shit. He looked like
Steppenwolf was such a forgettable villain.
He looked like an ugly shark from, like, a kid's animation from 2002.
Yeah, he was so generic.
Yeah, and the plot made fuck all sense. Oh, sorry, one more little thing is I'm glad they cut all the Darkseid stuff, because presumably that was going to be a thing, and that's what I was saying earlier about Age of Ultron, is that, like, it kind of set up for something else. He got, like, one name drop, but it didn't stop the film to explain anything else.
No, that's
But
I agree with that.
Steppenwolf was real bad.
So, thank you for sticking with us for this review. If you've been listening through, let us know your thoughts in the comments. And follow us on Twitter at CynOptPodcast. Check out our series we're doing on this channel at the moment, which is Aliens Colonial Marines.
Great fun. It's not.
Which is fun to record, but not fun to play. I'm
looking forward to next week's episode. I've played all those games now. I'm really looking forward to it.
Join us next week where the topic is 2017's indie 3D platformers. So that is A Hat in Time, Poi, and Ukulele. Mm-hmm. And we'll have Vicky or Vicstar. She joined us for the Zelda quiz. She does the Bridge Big Knickers with me. She'll be coming on to talk about it as well, because it's very relatable, because they're all kind of based on games like Banjo-Kazooie and stuff from our childhood. So next week's will be a load of fun, so do join us. But for now, I think there's nothing left to say, but I've been Phil.
And I've been Nick.
And thank you for listening.
Thank you, bye.